What's going on, guys? Satsuki the Savage here, and today is going to be a Hunter x Hunter discussion. I meant to do this video yesterday, but yeah, stuff happens. But as you can see from the title of the video, we're going to be talking about Gon and Meruem, okay? Because I see this thrown around a lot of times. Not even talking about Meruem, it's just I see the topic of Gon's strength always being brought up. People always tend to think Gon is going to be like one of the strongest people in the Hunter x Hunter universe, okay? And here's why I think that's not going to be the case, and I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed, which they shouldn't be. But let's talk about it anyways. Here is my one and only point to why I think Gon will never be as strong as Meruem. Motivation. Motivation. That's it, folks. Motivation. Before I even go more in depth into that, I will say it's obvious Gon and Killua, of course, they've both been stated to have the potential to be strong ass dudes. We know this. Wing remarked when he was talking about Zushi that Zushi was a 1 in 100,000 talent. And then when he looked and talked about Gon and Killua, he stated that Gon and Killua were 1 in 10 million talent. And then you have Hisoka, who gets horny as hell for Gon to grow up. You have Bisky. She looked at Gon and Killua and she basically talked about how they were unpolished gems that she could refine. You have so many times where Gon and Killua's strength, they're being brought up, the potential that they have. But when you don't act on it, potential stays potential. And folks seem to think just because Gon has this potential that it will be realized, he will eventually get this power. And this is why they say this. In the Chimera Ant arc, we all know Gon versus Pitou. This is where it all stems from. When Gon had that transformation and Pitou made that one remark where she said Gon's power has now reached the king. And we can gather from what Pitou's saying, probably telling the truth. She's seen the king's power. She felt Gon's power. She matched them up, and she said it's pretty much even. People will take that, what Pitou said right there, and they'll just take that quote and ignore what Killua said later on. Because once Killua went and seen Gon's form, and I'll put the video in there, okay?
けど、ゴンは逆。何年、十数年、何十年、絶え間ない修行を経て、ようやくたどり着くはずの姿。
Killua sees Gon's form, his transformation, and he says that before, because I didn't put that in the video because it would have been too long. He says he thinks about Bisky's transformation, about how she turns to the big form, and he says that's Bisky just going to her actual transformation. But Gon transforming, that was completely unnatural. He, of course, forced himself to age so he could get to a strength where he could destroy Pitou. Killua says this is the result of possibly decades. And the key thing that Killua says, the very key thing he says, is that this is the result of endless training. People need to, I don't know why people tend to ignore that part that Killua said about it. I mean, Killua is pretty observant. So when he says that, I would take his word for it. Endless training. We know Gon and Killua have gotten strong. They went from not knowing anything about Nin to being pretty good, especially for kids. Pretty good for kids. I mean, there are a lot of people stronger than Gon and Killua, but I seriously think that people tend to underestimate Meruem. Yes, weird. The most overpowered character in Hunter x Hunter, people tend to underestimate him. His strength, at least. I see so many things where people are like, oh, yeah, Netero could have totally beat the king. You seen what he did after? Did you see him during that fight? What Chairman Netero did to Meruem? And I'm sitting here like, you do know Chairman Netero literally, I mean, not Chairman Netero, but Meruem came out that fight literally with cuts and bruises. Of course, I'm talking about before the whole miniature roles thing. He came out there with cuts and bruises. And honestly, Meruem could have been killed Chairman Netero because he was trying to figure out his name, so he didn't immediately try to kill Chairman Netero. And of course, Chairman Netero was an old man. He wasn't Prime Netero. And if you want to argue Prime Netero versus Meruem, we can't make that. We can't make that happen. So, that's just going to have to live on in people's fantasies. We don't know what would happen had Netero been in his prime. We don't know. All we do know is during that fight with Chairman Netero and Meruem wrecked Netero. I'm sorry, he wrecked him. That's how it was. But my whole point in bringing that up is that there are two versions of Meruem, okay? There is pre-miniature roles Meruem and post-miniature roles Meruem, okay? And Pito, she was not privy, she wasn't even alive when post-miniature roles Meruem was formed, okay? Pito was already dead by then. So when she was remarking on Meruem's strength, this was before Meruem had even fought Netero, okay? So while Gon's transformation and Meruem might have matched up, after the miniature roles, Meruem was much stronger because, of course, he had the powers of Yuppie and Poof. He literally gathered their powers. With Yuppie's powers, he was instantly able to fly. He like transformed his arm to like blast kind of like a landscape. Post miniature roles Meruem was much stronger than he was before. And I say that because if you're going to say Gon will be stronger than Meruem, then you have to judge Meruem at his strongest. Because Meruem at his strongest was even stronger than what Pito imagined. Okay? And that's the whole thing about it. But bringing up my main point again, motivation. Gon has no reason to endlessly train. He has no reason to do that. Now, if someone were to be in danger, okay. But like the whole key word is endless training. He's not someone like Netero, where Netero just, his whole thing was testing his strength, becoming better than he was before yesterday. That's what Netero did. That he was gathering strength. Yeah, Gon and Killua, they like to train, but it's mostly because they're kids and the situations they were put in. Like, for example, when they were in the Heaven's Arena arc, Gon, Killua trained mostly because Killua and Gon will follow each other, so that's one thing. But Gon wanted to return the badge that Hisoka gave him, so he had to at least get strong enough to be able to compete with people in the Heaven's Arena arc. And then you have the Greed Island arc where they got when they trained with Bisky, and that was kind of life or death because you had the bomber in there, you had that weird guy with the freaky dude with the scissors. So they pretty much had to get stronger because the circumstances demanded it. What does Gon have to train for? He has nothing to train for. And even if a situation were to arrive where he does have to get stronger, yes, he'll try to get stronger for that moment, but he won't endlessly train unless that danger is there waiting for Gon to get that strong again. And honestly, if danger did arrive where he would have to train, he most likely would try to go into that form again. Like, let's say Killua, because people like to bring this up. Let's say Hisoka kidnapped Killua to make Gon want to fight him, okay? Gon, this is Gon's personality. He does not think for the future. Gon would transform, just like he did versus Pito, to save Killua. He wouldn't endlessly train to get strong enough to beat Hisoka. He would do the exact same thing that he did versus Pito. That's who Gon is. He does not think long term. That's the whole thing, pretty much. He does not have the motivation to do it. The best comparison I can bring up is Goku and Gohan. If you watch Dragon Ball Z, you know Gohan had the potential to be stronger than Goku. Is Gohan stronger than Goku currently? Hell no. Why is that? Why is it that Gohan isn't stronger than Goku, even though we knew he had the potential to surpass Goku? Gohan just doesn't have the motivation. He doesn't have the desire to fight like Goku. He wants to have a family, settle down, be a nerd, stay in school. That's what Gohan wants to do. He doesn't want to be this fighter. That's not in his nature. He doesn't have the motivation to keep training like Goku. Now, while Gon does, he does kind of like to train. He does like his strength, but like I said before, he just doesn't. He doesn't have any motivation to train just as hard as someone like Netro did when he was much younger. He just does not have that motivation, and people need to factor all that in when they bring in these comparisons of, will Gon ever be stronger than Meruem? My answer to that is no, for the simple fact that Gon does not have the desire to gather all that strength. He doesn't have a reason. Even if something, like I said, even if something happened Dark Continent where danger arrives, if he is in that situation where danger is right in front of his face, he's not going to try to train. He's going to try that transformation once again. To even buffer my point, currently Gon can't even use goddamn Nen. Right now he's with Mito, back where he started at, and he can't even use Nen. Even now, he's being set back from getting to that point that some people think he's going to be at. And the whole thing with Hunter x Hunter is, I think a lot of people bring up Gon being stronger than Meruem because they want the main character to be the strongest. Hunter x Hunter is a world where Gon and Killua are vastly surpassed by a whole array of people, and that's all right. That's okay. People need to. The main character does not have to be the strongest in the story. It makes for a good story. Sometimes Gon is not even in the story. Currently in his arc, Gon has nothing to do with what's happening in the Dark Continent whatsoever. So the notion that the main character has to be the strongest, or at least up to par with the baddest, the worst villains, it doesn't have to happen. Gon doesn't have a reason to get that strong. Killua he has more of a reason to get stronger because he's with Aluka, and he may want to protect him/her, whatever. But as far as them getting to the strength of someone like Meruem, post miniature Rose Meruem, I think not. I don't know how people are going to take this video, because you have some civilized people in the Hunter x Hunter fandom, but then you have like the crazy fandom who just won't listen to reason, and it's like, chill out. Chill out. But that's just my thoughts on the matter of discussion video. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. I'm Satsuki the Savage, and I'm out.